While the weeping lasted all night, I know that joy comes in the morning light. So I'll march on to a new song, 'cause I've been marching to that old one way too long. And I gotta move on and take new steps every day, 'cause I know there is got to be another way, and a brighter day. So I march on. Hey everybody, welcome to Pure Live, another Friday night. Hey, we are going to be talking about something very interesting tonight, but first, a word from our sponsors.
In a recent service, Pastor Dan asked if anyone felt disconnected, not apart, all by yourself, alone, or on your own. Realizing that every day, too many people in our community and even in our churches feel disconnected. In our CFC Life Group, we want to let people know that they belong. That's the most important reasons that we have life groups. And now we've added an online community access. With social media fellowship, we consider that connecting people can be messy. Sometimes we have real challenges such as schedule conflicts, transportation and mobility issues, as well as just feeling too tired to travel. We purposefully schedule our life group sessions to explore life application of the message with a discussion among friends. This online life group is hosted by Drs. Aaron and Margaret Jamal, who truly enjoy exploring life in God's Word. So we invite you to belong. Join the newly launched CFC online life group today.
Notice they said today, so that means you're not supposed to do it tomorrow, you're supposed to do it today. Just saying. And my other lovely sponsor, you guys know I sport a different outfit every single week, and it comes from this one place. Posh Women's Apparel, classy, sophisticated, stylish. Here's some of the outfits that they have, and I will show you what I am sporting today. So today we got that camouflage going on. Got the fatigues. So, that's where I get my clothes. So if you guys want to dress like me, you can go to poshwomensapparel.com. All right. Now, about our topic. So this is part 2. And it was an interesting conversation last time, and we're going to dig into it today. One of my guests is running a little late, but we got one that's on the show right now. He was on the show before, and I enjoy his company. So we're going to bring Jeffrey on and start talking about the topic. So hello, Mr. Nichols. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Before we get into everything, I have one more thing that I wanted to do. So one of my guests that I had before, and he will actually be coming back for a special presentation on the 23rd of this month. Recording artist Elijah Jamal has recently released a song. So I want to share with you guys.
Today I'm not okay. Another mother whose child is gone. Now she'll never see them graduate. I'm worn down from this hate. God, if you're listening, I could really use your help today. Now normally I'd say I'm fine and just put on a smile, but I'm in so much pain. I'm looking for the sun to shine, but in these cloudy skies, all I see is rain. I'm not okay, I'm not alright. If I had a tear for every sister's loss, I wouldn't stop crying.
All right. So that was a part of his new song, I'm Not Okay. It's beautiful and a little bit of a tearjerker. So just saying, it is great. You guys can go get it. Amazon.com, Apple, wherever they sell digital music, you can get it. Period, point blank. Or you can go on his site, ElijahJamal.com. ElijahJamal.com. All right. Back to the topic at hand. So, we are going to talk about this topic. Is monogamy too unrealistic with our current generation? And this is part 2. So, oh, I'm sorry. Somebody wanted to talk about the song. The song is a testimony for too many people. Indeed, I agree. And we're going to talk more about that on the 23rd. You won't want to miss that. Or next week, for that matter. You don't want to miss any of my shows because I'm cool. So we got Jeffrey Nichols. So first of all, transparency. I'm a married woman. He's a married man. Obviously, we believe in monogamy. That's transparency. However, there's more than one side to everything. So, Mr. Nichols, I'm going to let you speak on the monogamy side of things, and I will speak on the other side of things. So first of all, the reason that I came up with this whole topic in the first place was because I am seeing a trend with people either my age or younger, some older, but more so younger group, where they're doing more of the open marriage or the more than one person added to the relationship, the polygamy kind of situation. And they feel like, this is the way to go because no way that one person can fulfill all needs. I don't know. How do you feel about that, Mr. Nichols, Jeff?
Well, to me, it's definitely, you're right. I think it's a generational thing because when I was coming up, I don't know, before I got married, I was in different relationships, but I don't think I would have had enough courage to ask any one or two or three of the women that I was dating if we could all be in a relationship together. So I think that is definitely something different today than it was maybe 5, 10 years ago. I mean, I know that polygamy exists and, you know, that's okay. I don't know. To me, to be in, I mean, since I've grown and think I've matured a little bit, I think for me in general, to be in multiple relationships, no matter what the situation is, I don't think any one person is going to get the real thing because I could be a different person with all three, and who's really going to be knowing the real Jeff? Because some
Okay.
people have a problem with intimacy, and if I don't think I could be intimate with multiple people because I'm gonna give one this little bit of information about Jeff, or may give another one a little bit of information about Jeff, and not all will know everything about Jeff. That's just my opinion. But
Mm-hmm.
being a monogamous relationship, you know, I have to be honest and truthful, no matter if I like it or not. And you know, when I have these secrets, I mean, it's easier for me to, well, not easy, but you know, I know that one person really knows the whole thing about Jeff. So if I was in an open relationship with more than one person, I don't think I would be honest with everybody. I would just feel like I could just tell, one what I want her to hear, another one what I think she ought to hear, and just, so forth.
Okay. But do you feel like if you were in an open relationship, do you really have to give all of yourself to both or whoever, however many people you have to add to the relationship? Could you have, that real close, intimate relationship with one and then another one just satisfies a different need?
I don't know. Again, before I got married, I was in multiple relationships, and I don't know. To me, it was a game, and I just would get bored after a while. I mean, if it's based on anything, if I mean, for me, it was mostly lust, and to me, that didn't work because once the lust subsided, then what do you have? And for me personally, I just don't think that I would. I don't know. To me, it wouldn't be real.
Hmm.
To each his own.
Okay.
You learn from your mistakes. You know, I believe in Christ, and it says one man, one woman. So
Hmm. Well, to piggyback on that. So, all right. So, I'm also a believer. I'm a Christian. I'm of a different generation than you. Nevertheless, we still believe in the same God. That much I know. Um, but I will say that in my relationships that I've had, adding somebody to the equation has come up more than once. And um, earlier on, when I was a little younger, the examples they gave were like King Solomon, King David. There were several people in the Bible that had more than one wife. But I feel like open relationships, it doesn't even have to be that deep. So if you are married, but you guys say, we want to spice things up a little bit, and maybe we have this person come in. You have one dedicated person you deal with. That's how I would imagine it anyway, because that's people have germs and diseases and stuff. So so in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, you're gonna have one designated person that you would add to the relationship for a certain purpose, and then that person, they stay in their lane and you guys stay in your lane. But you're saying that wouldn't work for you?
today, I don't believe it would, because what if that other person, persons, how many you would have, if they start catching feelings, and if you're, I guess, I don't know. To me, in order for that to work, I mean, I don't know. I can't see me asking again, and I mentioned this on the first shot. I can't fathom me asking my wife to have someone else at this stage of our juncture join this relationship. You know, if it was something that would have happened before we got into a committed relationship, maybe. But to be in a relationship now, it's like I would feel like I'm one cheating on her. I mean, I understand the open relationship, you want to add something, but I mean, what I would feel like, what am I looking for that she can't provide right now?
Hmm.
Or if she came to me with that situation, I would be like, H no, but again, what are you lacking that you want to add somebody else? To me, that's what it
Hmm.
is. I mean, you're one
Yeah.
person fulfill all your needs, and so you have to have multiple people. And if that's the case, then how secure, or how, I'm looking for a word to describe a situation. How I So you're not getting fulfilled by one person, and you need multiple people to do that. But
Hmm.
are you really actually being fulfilled?
Okay. So I have two responses to that. One, I know that the Bible clearly says, flesh is never satisfied. So as much as we want to say, well, you should be getting everything you need from your partner, people have what they call the 80-20 rule, where you genuinely get 80% of your needs from your partner, and then the 20% is kind of just left out for grabs, whatever, you know. And so the people that decide to open up the relationships, they try to get that 20%, but add it into the relationship. So I guess the question would be, how would you say? Because in my opinion, I feel like especially in a marriage and any relationship, there's a lot of compromise that goes on. So if there's a lot of compromise, is it really a bad thing when you say, I know that this isn't my thing or this isn't my thing, but so you can experience what you want to experience, I'll let you add somebody to help with that part, as long as that's the only part they handling.
I don't know. I mean, again, I'm trying to think of any way that I would, or anything that's inside of me that would want to, at this juncture in my situation, want to include anybody else. And, you know, it isn't, because, like I said, before I got in this relationship now, and, again, I was younger, and, I did that. I thought that that's what men did. I thought that men had multiple relationships, and I did that. But
Hmm.
again, so I found out who Jeff was and what Jeff was looking for. I had to, I wasn't being honest with him. Again, I wasn't,
Hmm.
didn't, every, well, I guess I didn't know who I was, so they wouldn't know who I was. And so I couldn't let them know who I was because I didn't know who I was. But once I found out who I was, you know, again, our pastor says, something that is really, I mean, when we went to marriage counseling class, me and my wife, and then we got married, Pastor Dan says that marriage is a union to a perfect God to live with an imperfect person. So if we all are imperfect, then there isn't anything that I'm going to find through multiple people that's going to make me feel, whole. So I don't see what being opening up my marriage at this state what it would, accomplish. I don't know if that's
Okay.
next. This is, I don't know. Again,
So,
was a different time, again, I think people are a lot less, I don't know, I can't speak for all people. I think the situation is, I don't know, to me, again, I just think I can't be real. Is it possible to be real, to have more than one person know everything about you? Would you really be real with all two, three, how many people it is?
okay. So it sounds to me like you're saying you don't know how to cut a certain part of you off when you're bringing in another entity into your relationship. Because if I were to bring somebody else, which I really wouldn't, but if I were to bring somebody else into my relationship, to me it would be okay. There's me and my husband. We have our intimate relationship. He's the one that's gonna know everything about me. That's my best friend. Then this other person will fulfill whatever need is needed, whether it's on my side or his side. They're like, okay, you come in, you deal with this need. We're not gonna be close with each other, but you deal with this, and then me and my husband, we're gonna do our thing. But it sounds like you're saying you're incapable of separating. Is that what you're saying?
I think I would be able to separate, but then it goes to the fact that if I separate something from my wife and do something with somebody else, would I just feel would I don't know, I guess I would get I don't know, I feel like if I would not be genuine with my wife and do something with someone else, then you know, who would I be genuine to?
Hmm.
Because if I cut out something with my wife, then who's to say that, if I get into another relationship and then that starts to whatever whatever need is satisfying, would I go back to be completely genuine with my wife?
Hmm. Aaron Jamal says risking 100% for 20% seems like a bad risk. So I would ask you, and you can respond in the comments, Dr. Aaron Jamal, what bad risk would it be? What are you talking about? Now you have another comment says you can find the spice you are looking for in the spouse of your vows. Focus your attention and desires on your partner and continue to discover how much more you have already. That sounds good. It does sound good. I'm gonna tell you like this. So, how long have you been married, Mr. Nichols? How many years?
15.
15 years. Okay. So I've been married for 2.5 years. No, not even half, really, because this is October, almost 2.5 years. We've been together for 3 years. And with the marital advice and things that we get, it's good advice. It's good. It's encouraging. It's, okay, we need to try this. We should try this. But because we are newlyweds and we're still discovering each other, and we're two very different personalities. There's certain things that I'm into that he's not into, certain things he's into that I'm not into. So would that really cause a rift in the relationship if you mutually agree to add somebody to the equation?
Again, I think at this juncture in my relationship, to me, yes. But, if it was something that we discussed when we were dating,
Mm-hmm.
then it might have been something different. But for me,
So why though? Why the difference?
well, because we would have had the expectation up front. The boundaries, I guess, would have been set. That, I love you, but, there might be something that you can't fulfill that I know that I'm going to look for. And if you're not accepting of that now, then, we can't be together. For someone to say that after a period of time when you think you know somebody and you feel like, you know, I love you, I want to be with you, but, I want to see what this avenue might, open up to. Well, I don't know. To me, I was like, okay, well, if that avenue opens up to, you know, destruction, am I supposed to just sit here and, you know, let you go off the deep end, or do I try to not cut my losses and run, but, you know, I don't know. I just, I don't know. Couldn't do it.
Okay.
At,
Okay.
I said at this juncture, of my generation, it's I don't know, the 20%, like Dr. Jamal was saying, what is that 20%? You know, if me and my wife was to come, if she was to come to me and Jeff, you know, we've been together this long and there's been something that I haven't, what I guess I would get offended after this time is she came to me and said that after this time there's something that I'm not fulfilling and she wants to explore. And, you know, I love her enough, but I don't think that I would be willing at this point, you know, in our marriage to be like, okay, well, you do that. Then, you know, I guess we would have to go through counseling and maybe see the Dr. Jamals and be like, she wants to do this, or not just her, or even if I had a thought, you know, I want to explore something different. You know, to me, I mean, it would have, I guess what I'm trying to say, to me, I keep thinking of lust because that's the only thing that I can, I mean, think of that the 20% might be of. If it's about intimacy, well, if I'm not being intimate with the one I'm with now, am I truly going to be intimate with the one I'm seeking? And if it's about trust, I mean, if I can't trust who I'm with now, I'm going to openly trust someone I'm just meeting or invite into the situation. I guess I want to know, I guess from the others who are in open relationships, what is it that one person, other than sex, what is it that one person isn't fulfilling that you're fulfilling in a different relationship?
So honestly, all of the examples that I know of have been connected to sex. So yeah, I can't think of another situation. I'll say this though. One one component that I think some men neglect that lead women to lean another way is the intimacy part. And I'll say it like this. Um, this is not the same for everybody, but generally speaking, women tend to want more of a connection. We want to be able to, have affection. We want to be able to talk to you. We have a bad day, whatever. You know, you are supposed to hold the position of best friend and make us feel all right, kind of thing. And generally speaking, and I'm saying generally because there are men that are actually good at this, but generally speaking, men tend to miss their signals to speak. And so, your significant other is like, well, how do I get this taken care of? How do I get this fulfilled if he's not catching on or willing to? You know, how do you respond to that? I don't know anything about your marriage, but if you have not experienced that, how would you feel if you're to you and said, I feel like this part that I'm desiring is not your thing, but I'm connecting with this person. It is their thing. And I'm just hoping that you're comfortable with me connecting with them on this level because they're good at it.
I mean, for me, I think that intimacy, for me, in my experience, I mean, I can be completely honest with, my past, I didn't know what intimacy was. My dad had left my mom. My mom was a single mother. I grew up in DC. I was looking for everything in the public or outside of me, to fulfill what I thought, intimacy was. And it wasn't until, again, going through multiple relationships like I did, I wasn't, again, it brings me back. I wasn't being intimate because anytime someone would get close, I would jump into the next relationship because I didn't, one, know who I was. So I wasn't going to open up into them to let them know who I was. I had to go
Mm-hmm.
through some self, checking of myself, to realize, what is it that I'm looking for, and, finding Christ or realizing that, I have to know who Jeff is in order to fully give Jeff to someone else. I can't find Jeff in a different relationship. So, once I got comfortable with me, then I began to feel that, I could give of myself to someone. I could begin to trust. I guess I had a big trust issue in the past. If I can't trust anyone, then I'm not going to open up to you. And, I had
Yeah.
I had to get around men and realize what it is that men do. Again, like I said, me and my wife went through a marriage counseling class before we got married. It was one of the regulations, or not regulation, one of the things our church asked us to do in order to get married at CFC. We have to go through a marriage counseling class. Learning what God um, expects of a man was really deep, because I really didn't know what a man was. And once I'm reading about it and reading through scriptures, you know,
Okay.
I realized that God places you know, uh, he expects man to lead. And in order to lead, then I have to figure out what my weaknesses are. And then I have to identify with that, and then be willing to, one, give those over to him and help me to, guide through that. And then I can probably explain that to a woman, which I'm able to do now. And so
Mhm.
the past, like I said, I think anytime anybody would get close, I would run away. Now I have someone that's close, and I can be intimate. It still is a process, but it's easier. I trust her with everything. She's probably the one person who knows everything about me, because I was able to tell her, those deep dark secrets or those skeletons in my closet that we all have. So.
True. That's the truth. Dr. Jamal says improving communication should be part of the foreplay. Talk to your partner before and during intimacy. So first of all, I just want people to know that these comments coming from Dr. Jamal, he is actually a relationship therapist. So, he's a counselor. I just want people to understand. So they're probably like, who is this Dr. Aaron Jamal? Yeah, he says be vulnerable with your partner, trusting one another to not use what you share against each other. That takes courage, especially if you have. Okay, so I hear that. I feel that. Okay, so you guys been married for a while. You've gone through some ups and downs or whatever. This is my second marriage, final marriage for me. I ain't doing it again. So, I've experienced some situations, and with my former and current, the one I'm with now, he's a blessing. Not to say we didn't go through anything. Um, but what I would ask you is those that decide to, in many people's words, add some spice to their relationships, would you talk down to them? Do you discourage that? Or are you just saying it's not your forte?
No, I wouldn't talk down to him. I would like anybody that's in an open relationship now, please, if you know me, call me, you know, whatever. I would like to just talk, enlighten me. This, what is it that you're going through? What's your thought process? What is it? Because I would like to know. Like
Mm-hmm.
I said, not a different time. I know that people have multiple, or had since the beginning of time. Well, not beginning of time, multiple relationships. I just tell me, make me, not make me understand it. I get it. I just, I don't know. So give me an example. You're with your do you have a main squeeze, or is it, 50-50? What is it that, all right, if you're with Jill today, and then what, if you and Jill have an argument, are you going to call Jane? You know, I mean, or, if you're working during the day and you're thinking about Jane more than Jill, are you going to, do you have to call Jill and say, hey, Jane's going to come over tonight, because, I've been thinking about her all day. Not that I haven't been thinking about you, but,
Hmm.
or Matt, and then what if a Jennifer comes
Yeah.
along or gets into the picture too? And so, you know, I don't know. If one man can fulfill one woman, if three or four, whatever many people, I don't know. I just want to know. Someone that's in an open relationship, please call me and let me know. I just have some questions.
Yeah. I got questions too. But when it comes to the platform of my show, I am very open and honest. So most of the things that we talk about, I can see both sides of the situations. And the title of the show says monogamy too unrealistic with our current generation. So I hear a lot of people say, the whole monogamy thing, it's kind of old school. If that's your thing, then okay. But, you know, live how you live. If you feel like you want to add people, if you want to, spice it up, what have you, then do you. And it's like becoming more of a trend. And I'll say some of the trend is rumored. I'll say that. Like, for example, I don't know how much you keep up with the media, but it is rumored that Will and Jada Smith have an open relationship. They themselves have said that is not the case, that they do not have an open relationship, but they have their own definition of their relationship and how they function as a marriage, which I can respect. But it is becoming, more of a trend right now. It's like, be free, do your own thing. If you decide to tie yourself down to one person, that one person should understand that if you don't um, address all of my needs, then you should be okay with me trying to add somebody to the relationship respectfully. Come to you, talk to you about it, and say, I really think it would be cool if this person takes care of this particular thing that you don't enjoy. Is that okay? Would that be okay?
Again, for me, I guess it would be something we would have to discuss in. So monogamy, I guess monogamy in a marriage or monogamy out, if we're just dating and then you say that, then cool, I don't have any tie to you, you know, what we have, if it's not enough, then sure. Again, being outside of marriage, I don't know. I would have to, hopefully this conversation would be brought up, you know, before marriage, if it's, if she would have came to me at the point where we still dating and, we're engaged and, she's talked to me and say, hey, I have to be honest with you, you know, if we get to a certain point and things get stagnant, then I might, try to invite somebody else in or look for something different. And how do you feel? And if I'm at a point at that, if I, you know, I guess if we discussed those issues before we, became a union, it might be something different.
Mm-hmm.
To be in a union and then for it to be discuss, I guess I would feel like I'm being cheated on, and or I'm cheating on her. It's just, I don't know. I guess now if we have new boundaries, I guess, either I'm gonna be okay with it or I'm not gonna be okay with it. So, but if dating, being in a, like I said before, being out there before, it was cool. But to be in a relationship and a commitment to God, I just don't think at this point in my life, that I don't know I could do it and feel good about Jeff.
Hmm.
You know, I would probably have to confess my sin and
That's fair. Hmm. Well, Dr. Jamal says marriage is for life, not a fading trend. Sharing your spouse is putting your life relationship up for the risk of a momentary trend. Not smart. So more transparency. So there are certain shows that I like to watch that my mother does not approve of, but it's interesting. So I watch the Investigation Discovery Channel, and I like them because I like mystery. I like true stories. I'm into that kind of stuff. It's very interesting. I feel like it's educational because you get to learn about the sides of the world that you don't know about. That's not right in front of you, right? And he would occasionally watch stuff with me. And there were so many situations where there were open relationships and somebody got killed over this open relationship. So it made me think, it's like, okay, is it possible to have rules and it be okay? Or is it too much of a risk because somebody decides that they're going to get attached to the other person of the relationship? I feel like, human beings are not robots. So we can't really dictate what our behavior is. So you do take a risk when you add somebody to the equation. It sounds like a good thing when you're thinking to yourself, I really would like this situation filled. It doesn't seem to be your thing, but we can be all cool if you let somebody else take care of that, and we'll be this. But like you mentioned earlier, you said, what if somebody catches feelings? And I promise you, every time in these stories, exactly what happens. Somebody catches feelings and they don't like what's going on in the situation, and somebody dies. Now, does that always have to be the situation? No, it doesn't. But I've heard more, and I know I'm not supposed to be on your side on this, but I heard more negative feedback on these situations than positive. And you guys that are watching, that if you're part of the conversation, you hear us talking, add your feedback. Let me know what you think and tell me how you feel about it. Okay, we got Elijah that has to say about it. Let's see what his comment is. And just so you guys know, when my eyes are shifting, it's because I'm watching the board. It says selfishness and love are opposing minds. Unconditional love says, I don't need you to meet everyone of needs to love you. Selfishness says that my needs are a higher priority than the commitment of our relationship. So it sounds to me like Elijah is saying, a poly relationship or an open relationship is flat out selfish. And correct me if I'm wrong, Elijah, but that's what it sounds like he's saying. Do you agree with that statement?
Me, I do, because to me,
Jeff, I'm talking about.
I yes, I do agree, because just from my own life, my own situations, it was about me. I want my cake and I want to eat it too. And if you don't like it, then I'm gonna get me another cake before being in a monogamous relationship. And so
Mm,
it just didn't last.
mm,
And I've seen some of those discovery shows too, and it just seems to be that way. You know, it's risky, it's dangerous, it's exciting, and that may make what you're
okay.
lacking in your relationship. You want some spice, but be careful of spice, because you can get burned. It can burn you. Different spices, are just not good
Yeah.
unless you you know deal with it, or know how to handle it. But I don't know. It's this generation. I think they have a, not all. I can't speak for this generation because I'm not of the generation, but to me, it's just not about
Mm,
commitment. I mean, if is it really a commitment if you're in a poly relationship? It's about one person, or one person having so much of you, they can't have all of you, and so you're going to give 30, 30, 30, and 10, or you know it's not a kind of equal situation to me. If
mm,
if all of my lust issue comes up, and I feel like I'm going to satisfy them, and I want you to be open to that. If I'm in a marriage,
mm-hmm.
unfair to me. I think it would be unfair. Like I said, I don't think at this stage I could even go to my wife with that. Before, I guess, to me, it's about rules and boundaries. If you're dating someone and you're not in a committed relationship, and you say, hey, I like you, I want to be with you, but, you know, I know that something's going to come up,
Mm-hmm.
have a disagreement, and, you know,
Mm-hmm.
I might not want to see you, and I'm going to go see somebody else. So, but if are like that, maybe I
Yeah.
bring that to the home. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so here's the deal. We're at 48. We got 12 minutes left of the show. This is our part two. I'm going to bring some conclusions to the situation. So, for you guys, that don't know, the names that you see over here, Aaron Jamal, Elijah Jamal, that's my family. I am Asia Jamal Rogers. Rogers because I'm married. So with that being said, I've had my ups and downs and everything, but I had my support system and I've had wisdom and counseling and things of that nature in regards to my relationships. And I will say, any situation that we've gotten into, that there was even a discussion of certain needs not being met, I can't say that they're not self-centered. I'm not going to sit here and say that I've never been self-centered myself. Um, but that begs to say, well, what is the relationship really about? Because I think that's what kind of leads to what you're willing to do or what you're desiring to do in the relationship. If you are saying I'm taking those vows, what are you actually vowing to do? If you ask somebody to a relationship, how does that fit in with your vows? Marriage is a commitment that requires some fight in you. And that's a fact. I don't know of any marriage, any relationship that was smooth sailing the entire time and had long longevity. I've never known any relationship like that. So knowing that there's ups and downs with every single relationship, um, I think that sometimes we jump prematurely and say, you know what? It's because this is missing. I think if we add this element to our relationship, this will be better. And then they end up with a bigger problem than they had before. Now, there's some people that don't feel that they need to get married ever. You know, they'll have their main squeeze, you know, the one that they deal with mainly, and but then they are allowed to go and venture with different people. So, you know, I guess the question was at that point, what do you look for? If you're not willing to lock yourself down to one person in regards to marriage, you're saying you got a main squeeze, but you out there dealing with other people. What exactly are you doing? What is that relationship? What do you think that they're actually looking for?
Me, what do I think they're looking for?
Yeah, what do you think they're looking for? Since you said, you know, you've lived some special lifestyles before you settle down, what do you think for?
It was just about excitement, I guess. I guess again, relationships takes work, and you know that was before I didn't want to put in the work. So, you know, I didn't know how to, if we got in an argument, how to one, get a calm head, listen to your point of view, and then, we come to some type of compromise. It was either my way or not. And if you don't agree with that, then I'm gone. Outie, see you next time, and jump into the next relationship. And I guess
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to be it. I wanted you to do what, Jeff wanted you to do. And if, we got to a situation where you wanted something and if it wasn't what I wanted to do, then, we had issues. Relationships to me are about give and take. If you can't give any, if you're constantly taking, then, there's going to be issues because we all have needs. So,
Facts. That
Dr.
is
Jamal,
true.
not
Dr.
talk,
Aaron Jamal says, you are not a problem to fix or solve. Your relationship is complex and an adventure to be explored. He sure does know how to romanticize stuff, doesn't he?
yeah.
An adventure to be explored. But honestly, do you always feel like it's an adventure when you're dealing with certain situations? Like, oh, you're not doing what I'm asking you to do. Why can't you just, haven't you ever, through all your years of marriage, been in a position where you're like, why can't she get this one thing that I'm trying to get her to do? Like, why are we not connected in this situation?
Mm, yeah, I have. And, what I've learned is that I can't fix my wife. I can, I have to give her over to God. And, hopefully she has some other women in her life that she can talk to and, you know, they can help her. Whenever I try to fix her, then we just, butt heads, and then God said that there's going to be storms. And I was thinking about, you know, multiple relationships. If I'm in a storm with my wife and I get outside of my umbrella that he's provided with my wife, then I'm going to get wet trying to go into a different umbrella. And who's to say that's going to be a big enough umbrella that's going to cover, our situation? So,
True, true. Dr. Jamal says it's an adventure just might get scary. Before that, he says you can add to the melody, rhythm, or style without switching parts. So I just want to add to this particular comment. This is a musician speaking, just in case you're wondering why he's so romantic with his comments. But a counselor as well. I that deserves a translation. Dr. Jamal. I don't know if y'all heard that, but I don't know what that was outside. But adding to melody, rhythm, or style without switching partners, write a song. What does that mean exactly? And we only got a few minutes to show, so if you can respond to that, that'd be great. To me, I'm hearing that you're saying, so I have the musical background as well. So I understand melodies and adding different components to the song. Somebody else may have the percussion, somebody else may have strings, somebody else may have vocals or whatever, and together you make a beautiful melody. That sounds sweet. But I just feel like marriage is not always it. And Kendra, let's see, she said the grass is never greener on the other side. Weeds exist everywhere. Facts. Weeds are definitely everywhere. You are telling the truth. With all your years of marriage, you may or may not have experienced things that I've experienced, but I will say this. I've had people approach me and they'll say, what's up, baby girl? How you doing? Can I get your number or whatever? And I'm like, I'm married. I'm already taken. And then they say, are you happy? Like, what does that even have to do with anything? I just said I'm taken. I'm married. What I realize is to them, that's not a no-go. It's like, okay, well, that just means our relationship has to be different. If you're unhappy, I'll fulfill the part that you're not happy about. And I think a lot of people fall victim to that. I mean, that's how I feel. I know I'm messing this up. I'm supposed to be against your side. But as the host, I feel like I need to present facts. And fact of the matter is, yes, there's a high divorce rate. Yes, there are a lot of people that there are irreconcilable differences and they have to part. I'm not going to call them weak. I will just call them people without the correct resources. That's how I feel about it. Dr. Jamal has another comment. Says your marriage is not just a single song, but an entire playlist. You have discord and beautiful chords, but you never have to change your dance partner. Dr. Jamal, everybody is not a musician. What are you saying? I get it. I'm just saying, for my listeners, what are you saying, sir? Do you understand what Dr. Jamal is saying?
I think so. I think, we could do the tango 1 minute. We can do, the lambada another minute, the hustle. It's just different things out there, but we have to experience them together. You know, there's going to be storms. We just have to weather the storm. In this day and age with COVID out there, with all kinds of other issues out there, to add something different, could bring death to your, not death to you, death to everyone that you care about, and, in the 80s and early 90s, it was AIDS, when you open yourself up to other things, there's risk involved. And, the desires that you There's 7 deadly sins. So when we're following our lust to get into that, it can be deadly.
Mm, yeah, I completely agree with that. I This is the way, and not everybody feels the way that I feel, but this is the way I see it. If you can dedicate an entire channel to these kinds of mishaps, deaths, murders related to relationships, I say there's enough stories to tell you that this is a big risk. To add people to the relationship. Some people have done it for years and haven't had issues. I'm not gonna sit here and say I haven't had any issues because I have not heard that yet. But it hasn't led to the extreme. But it absolutely can. People are unpredictable. But when you focus your attention in on that one person, that person focuses in on you, then you have the opportunity to form a bond. It makes it much more complicated when you add another person to the equation. So, bottom line, yeah, I agree with Mr. Nichols. Sorry, folks. I I do. I completely agree. You gotta learn. You just gotta learn each other, and that can be one very match. It isn't a show, but I want to make it clear that those people. There are a lot of people that are struggling right now and dealing with their marriages. There are a lot of people that are discovering things that they wish they didn't discover. Does it mean that you're not meant to be? I'm not sure about that. I don't necessarily. I feel like you make the decision to either fight for that marriage or don't. I don't agree that I don't agree with the idea of irreconcilable differences. I don't feel like that's good enough to separate. I don't feel like that's good enough to add somebody to the equation. I feel like that means, well, you got to figure out how to get past those irreconcilable differences that you think you have. You got to have the right resources. I feel that, um, there are certain things in the Bible that say, okay, well, if this person has an affair with somebody else, you have the permission to then sever that relationship. However, God's will is for us to work things out, pray through the marriage, work, try to get the counseling that you're supposed to have, and work it out. Though I know some of my people that listen to me, some of the people that are friends of mine do not believe in every word of the Bible. But I gotta tell you, as a warrior myself, that has gone through a lot of stuff, that is the consistent thing in my life to help me through. So I'm saying, you disagree, Mr. Nichols, or you agree?
No, I agree.
So we are at the end of our show. We are going to close things out. Did you have any closing comments, sir?
No, I mean, again, I would like to talk to somebody that's in an open relationship, not to judge, just to hear. I just want the perspective. Being before marriage, being that way, I just, again, it was an intimacy issue. And so it isn't, lust is lust. And to me, it was a conquest. And once I got what I wanted, then I would get bored. And it wasn't, I don't know, it wasn't something that was sustainable. So, but, I am missing all of my other guests that were
Yeah.
here last time. So, I'm going to be calling some people.
Yeah. Yeah, there was a couple of people that are supposed to be on the show that were supposed to help us on the other side. So, I mean, you guys that are out there that say, you know, there's other sides to this and you have something to say about it, bring it. You know, I'm open to a part 3. Let's do it. Contact me. Go on to hjamal.com or hjamal.net. You communicate with me there. You can contact me at Asia, ASIA, at hjamal.com. And I will respond to you. You can see all of my social media stuff scrolling across the bottom. Contact me. If you're watching from YouTube, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. You can leave a comment and I will respond. If you're watching me from Facebook, you leave it, I will respond. I am personable. So bring it. Bring that information that you think we might be missing. I'm open to it. So until next time, we will be meeting here next week, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, and we will be talking about dating in 2020. What a transition, huh? So, you know, I will have guests on here that we have not talked to before. I haven't even talked before. I'm just interested in her ideas. So we will talk to you guys next week. Love you guys. Remember to embrace the perfect design that God has made, which is you. Believe that. Talk to you next week, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, Friday nights. Good night.
Night.